Today's demonstration is on how synchronous technology can help you prepare models for pattern development. The demo is going to last approximately 20 minutes, and then we'll stay on the line and open up a chat window for Q&A. With that, I'd like to turn the session over to Rob. Rob, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Aaron. Hello, everybody. Let's get started. We're going to be using starting off with some translated data from a foreign CAD system to bring in the part. We'll clean up the geometry. We'll develop the cores on this casting. We'll add core prints, and during the whole process, we will maintain associativity. I'll do a review for NX users and an overview for non-NX users on the NX user interface. I'll be working in full screen mode, and I'll explain that as we go along. I'll be using various hotkeys: Control A for select all, Control L for layer control, Control J for edit object display. When I want to create an extrusion, I will use X hotkey, and I'll also highlight our undo function. I'll also talk about selection intent. And the main product focus inside of NX will be our synchronous modeling, where I can optimize the models. I can delete and move faces, resize blends. Again, our models will be associative throughout the process, even the imported models from other CAD systems. And then lastly, I'll be working on core prints. So let me bring up my NX session here.
Okay, I can see it just fine, Rob.
Okay, so I mentioned that I'm working in full screen mode. What that allows me to do is use the most amount of screen real estate. If I don't want to be bogged down by having too many icons or toolbars on the screen, and to use that, it's an Alt-Enter key. That's a Windows function. If I'm watching a Windows movie, if I hit Alt-Enter, it'll toggle in and out of full screen mode. So it's the same way with NX. And as you can see, I have a number of toolbars turned on at the top there. I have some at the bottom, and I really don't want to see those throughout the demonstration here. Also, as I mentioned, there's hotkeys. For instance, the standard Windows ones. If I go to File, if I want to save a part, Control S. As you can see off to the right are the hotkeys. So I have the same thing throughout different parts of NX. As I mentioned, the extrude function I'll be using. I can go into the menu here or a toolbar, or I can just merely type in the letter X to get into the extrude function. So it's much more easier to work that way. So I'll toggle back into full screen mode here. Now I have left what we call the selection intent toolbar at the top. And this allows me to set up different geometry that I want to select and set up different rules for selection. And I'll explain that as I go along. Right now I have it set to face selection. And this is a model that was imported from another CAD system, and as is with the case with many imported geometries, sometimes you get situations where anything that's revolved, cylindrical faces, cone faces, spherical faces, gets split. And as I mouse over here, you can see from my pre-selection that these faces, these cylindrical faces, are indeed split, as well as I have a few spherical faces on here. So what I'm going to do is go in and press my Alt key, which brings up one of my toolbars, the last toolbar I'm using. And as you can probably see here, wherever my cursor is, if I hit the Alt key, I'm presented with that current toolbar. Now I can scroll through the toolbars using my scroll mouse, the wheel on my scroll mouse. So I can get to all the functions that I had on those visible toolbars when I wasn't in full screen mode. I'm going to select this function here called Optimize Face and use Control A to select all the geometry. What this is going to do is take a look at my model, and wherever it finds split faces, it's going to join those faces. Wherever, if I have any mismatches, either overlapping faces, surfaces, or gaps, it'll fill in those gaps and overlaps, fix those overlaps based on the tolerance. So I get a little report here. We started off with 455 faces, and we eliminated 54 faces. We're down to 401. And as you can see now, I'm getting full highlighting of these faces. So my model is now fixed up. The next thing I want to do is go into our layer control. I'm using Control L for that. And my part's on layer 1. I want to work on layer 2. So I'm going to set that. And I'm going to use a function here called extract body. And this allows me to make an associative copy of the part. I now have two parts overlapping each other. I'm going to go back into my layer control and turn off layer 1. So we're now working with the layer 2 part, which is the copy part. And this is what I'm going to use to develop the core. Now let me first show you a few features that we have in synchronous modeling. And synchronous modeling comes with all our CAD products and also all our CAM products. So even NC programmers that don't have access to our CAD software can use all these synchronous modeling tools for fixing up tooling, fixing up models, things like that. So the first thing I want to do is show you the delete face feature. If I select delete face here, when the dialog comes up, we're going to be able to remove topology from this. Now with synchronous modeling, you're not creating any geometry, but you can make edits to existing geometry, similar to if you're making parametric edits, but it's even much more powerful than that. So here's my selection intent. And I can select single faces here. In this case, I want to select tangent faces. And I'm going to select just the top of this boss here. And you can see from the previews that it's removing this topology here. And if I accept that, you can see that that geometry is indeed gone. And not only that, but the underlying geometry is healed or stays whole and intact on there. So let's go in. Let's do another delete face. Let's set this to holes now, and I can say I want to delete all holes less than 1.5 inches on this model. So and just to show you this, I've got some holes that break out in the sides here. So I'm going to select this hole, and even though I selected one hole, the hole on the other side, because it fits that same criteria, it's less than 1.5 inch in diameter, also is selected. And as I accept this, and I can accept this either by hitting the OK or just hitting my middle mouse button wherever I am, you can see that's also removed. Some other things we can do with this is I can go in and say I want to move faces. So let me move a face. I'll select this face here, and I get a little drag handle. And I can either pull on this drag handle, or I could just key in the value that I want here. Let's make this 0.5. And again, I'll accept that. So that's a simple move face, sort of in a planar direction. Let's do another move face on here, something a little more complex. Let's select this face here, and this time I want to actually revolve this face, but I want it revolved around the center of this arc here. And now I can select this pull handle, and you can see from my preview I'm doing really an incredible amount of editing on here because it's maintaining all the blends, all the tangencies that were in there. Even though, again, this is imported geometry, NX with synchronous modeling is smart enough to know that that geometry needs to react with the topology changes that just went on. Let's go in and delete a face again. Let's go into, I'll say face instead of holes. Let's do a boss or a pocket. If I select this now, it selects that, and if I accept it, again, it removes that topology. Now, one of the real powerful features of NX is our undo function, and I'll go into that right after I show you that we started off with a solid body here, and we extracted that, and we blanked out, or we did a no-show or hide on the original body. But I have each of these features that got created, and I can that last face I deleted, I can toggle that using suppress, but I can also go through and undo each of these features one at a time till I get back to the original model here. And now if I go look at these features, we just have the extract body again. So let's start developing the core on here. Well, again, I'll use delete, and this time I want to set my selection intent to a region. What a region allows me to do is, one, select a seed face, and then it reverts to single face mode, and what I want to do is select all the faces that are bounding that to try to identify where that region is. And so this will, I'm selecting all the boundaries to this, and these selections are non-inclusive, and meaning that when I accept this, everything up to those points, but not those faces, will be selected. So I'll just accept this now. You can see we have a preview, and very quickly what we ended up with is the core for that solid body. Let me also change that. I'm going to use Control J to get into my edit display object. I want to change the color of this object just so we could differentiate it from the original model. Some things take note of. We have small blends down here, through here, over here. I'm going to go back into layer control, and let's turn on the original body. So you can see that the core comes all the way up to the edges of the original body. Let's go in and let's make layer 3 our work layer. Let's turn off the core that we created, and I want to do a couple more synchronous edits on here. One is I want to resize a blend. So let's select this blend in the back. Again, we've got drag handles, or I could just key in a value. Let's do 0.4 on here. So you can see this blend increased in size. Let's also go in and move face again. Let me select this front face. We're going to move it in that direction, normal to that face. But I'm also going to select a number of other faces here. So I just drag around those to select those. And once that's highlighted, let's just go in and put in a change. Let's add 2 inches to the front of this opening on the part here. And as you can see, we get the preview. I'm going to accept that. That's what I want. And incidentally, if you want to save time, if you get into more complex models, you could turn off the preview. But you can see we've updated the model here. Let's go in and turn back on the core, And as you can see here, the core has adjusted its size. It's associative. And you can also see on here that the blend in back that I increased in size, that is also updated in the core. Let's do another edit here. Let's resize these blends, and let's do a 0.1. Make this a little bit larger here, so we can edit these. Now, even though this is a real-world part, this was a fairly simple model. So let's go and take a look at a more complex model. I have here a analog braking system, and what I want to do with this is go in and do similar steps. Let's first create a new layer to put this model on, and we'll extract it again. So I'll extract this body. We'll go to layer control. We'll turn off layer 1. And let's work on extracting the cores again from this. So I'll go in and let's delete face. We're still in region, so I'll select a seed face. Actually, before that, what I want to do is another delete face and show you a different type of selection intent. Let's do a boss or pocket. I have some holes here that get machined in afterwards. So I want to take this back to the raw casting on here. So I can just accept that. So it took all the faces related to that. You know, single click, it's intelligent enough to know exactly what I want. Let's again do delete face. We'll do a region again. Let me select the seed face. And again, I'm going to select all the faces up to the area that I want to preserve. There's a few more selections on this part because it's more complex. Let me flip this over so I could get to all the other openings on here. And I want to select these cylindrical edges here. And I'll right-click, hit a restore here so we can get back to the original view. And I'll accept this. Oh, I forgot one face here. It'll go through and try to do that. Let me turn off my my preview here. So if I don't satisfy the selection intent here, it'll and let me just single face and deselect this single face here. Okay. Now we should have all the proper faces selected. and I'll accept that. And you'll see that this part actually is a complex series of channels that are created by different drilled holes through this part. And this is the core. So we're developing the core. This is the area that is going to prevent the metal from filling in the void here. So this is how the center of the part's developed. But typically what's done at this point is core prints are added, and that those are extrusions that add material to the part to take it to the edges of the core box here. And I want to make sure this comes up just past the highest points here. We'll accept that. So there's the core prints going in that direction. If I select X, it allows me to do core prints in another direction. I'll shorten those up a bit. X again for core prints going in this direction. So we'll just walk through all of these. X for extrude. We'll extrude these, and we have two more on the bottom here. We'll extrude all of those. And then lastly, what I want to do is I want to trim the top extrusions to a plane. So I'll create the plane on this level here. We'll go into a trimming operation. We'll trim this, 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 and this to this plane, and we're now complete on that. And let me just go back in and turn on our layer 1, and you can see the casting on top of a core with the extrusions. So that concludes my demonstration, and I'll turn this back over to Aaron.